Let us look at the international framework as well as the national laws and guidelines which govern internet shutdowns. Let's start with the international frameworks which govern internet shutdowns. The Sustainable Development Goals, which are to be achieved by the year 2030, and there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals in total. What do? They reinforce the country's human rights obligations. So they are associating internet rights with human rights obligations to work towards universally available and accessible internet free from unjustified restrictions. So they are what are they doing? They are associating or correlating human rights with internet access. Now, the International Telecommunication Union was founded to facilitate international connectivity in communications network. This also works on the adoption of standards that ensure that networks and technologies interconnect and strive to improve access to the internet. Access to the internet is again reinforced by the International Telecommunication Union. Now, the International Telecommunication Union is very important. Why? Because see, this is a UN body or a UN agency, you could say. Can you guess when it was launched or when it was established? It was established in the year 1865. This predates the United Nations, because of which this is the oldest UN agency. This is the oldest UN agency and it predates the UN. When it was introduced or established in the year 1865, it was introduced as the International Telegraph Union. But later on, as you can see, the name was changed to be more accommodative of other things. Now, moving on. Who governs internet shutdowns in India? The temporary suspension of telecom services, public emergency or public safety rules 2017 under the Indian Telegraph Act of 1885. Indian Telegraph Act 1885. Under that, you have this temporary suspension of telecom services, public emergency or public safety rules 2017. What do? They provide for temporary shutdown of telecom services in a region on grounds of public emergency and give senior bureaucrats from the Home Ministry at the center and state levels. This is also important, not just the center, but also at the state levels, the power to order shutdowns. So this is very, very important because it lets you know who has the authority to enforce a shutdown like this. Then this Indian Telegraph Act 1885 empowers the central government to regulate various types of telecom services, including internet services and grant licenses for them. So they regulate uh, types of telecom services, including internet services and grant licenses for telecom services. Now, what are the related Supreme Court judgments and amendments? In Anuradha Basin versus Union of India 2020. In that case, the Supreme Court ruled that internet shutdowns do not violate Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. This is extremely important. They do not violate Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. Why is this important? Because the world organizations have been trying to correlate internet shutdowns with human rights violations. This acts as a reasonable restrictions and it should only be enacted if there is a genuine threat to public safety or national security. Only be enacted if there is a genuine threat to public safety or national security. Certain balancing tests should be carried out, and only if extremely necessary, the government should proceed with this. So, what they're saying that they should, first of all, the government should explore other options, and internet shutdown should only be carried out only if extremely necessary. An indefinite suspension of internet services would be illegal under Indian law. So, no indefinite suspension of internet services. Orders for internet shutdown must satisfy the test of necessity and proportionality, whether they are necessary and whether the amount of internet shutdown recommended, whether it is actually justified or necessary. You have to look into it. Subsequently, the Union government made some amendments to limit the internet suspension orders to a maximum of 15 days to the 2017 rules in November 2020. However, in December 2021, the Standing Committee on Communication and Information Technology was not satisfied with the amendments and it recommended more changes to the 2017 rules. They recommended reviewing the rules to address all aspects of internet shutdown, make amendments in the rules that are in tune with changing technology to ensure minimum disturbance to the public, and issued uniform guidelines for states, and they recommended issuing uniform guidelines for states or union territories before ordering an internet shutdown. So they cannot be different guidelines for states and union territories. That's it.